Just a quick note, this session is being recorded in its entirety and will be available on the CIC website after the conference. This opportunity was made possible with the generosity of EzToGreen, sorry. You may also see them in some of your sessions taking footage, so just so you'll know and expect that.
Continue in that. Technology will continue to play a critical role in our success going forward. And I'm technology challenged, but I at least understand that it's going to play a role, and we have to have technology work for us. We're not supposed to be working for technology. And virtual can and will support face-to-face meetings. And I think what we can deliver at that point in time is, in my opinion, the best education today about how to utilize virtual activities 365 days a year to support face-to-face activities. And we at PCMA truly believe that virtual will support face-to-face activities, but you need to know how to fund it. You need to know how to get adoption of it within your organization. And you really need to have a thorough 365-day plan. And the education that's going to be provided is going to allow that.
Mass customization is I want what I want, when I want it, in the format I want to receive it, and at the time I want to receive it. And oh, by the way, I don't want all the other stuff you push at me. That's mass customization. And that is what organizations and associations are going to have to begin to grapple with. And I think the merging of technology with meetings and education is a huge issue for most associations, because if most of us are honest, in our organizations, those activities are siloed. You got meetings over here, you got education there, and you've got technology over here. And I think the days of those functions being siloed are over.
The second thing, and it is partly a technology shift, is thinking, what we call thinking outside the room. And now taking technology, particularly mobile technology, you need to be thinking not just about the connections that get created in the room, but how you can leverage what's happening in the room or at the event beyond. Because, and I'll give you an example of that. When we did our Meet Different conference in Cancun, we had 1,300 people there, but we had another 600 people outside the room sign up on Virtual Access Pass. So they got to leverage the talent that was in the content. They're not going to get the networking juice necessarily that happens at an event like this, but they are going to get the content, they are going to get the ideas. In fact, when I was preparing for this, I went back and looked at last year's video and learned a thing or two about what took place in the room here. But the shift that I think we're talking about is you have to think what the connection opportunities that happen outside the room. There's sponsorship opportunities that happen as a result of that, and there's also large opportunities to reach to a whole different audience. The economy is not going to get any less global. Pretty soon they're all going to be hybrid meetings, and I think there's this kind of voodoo thing about a hybrid meeting and a non-hybrid. Technology is a reality. It's how people connect, and I think if we think about ourselves as how we better connect people to ideas and opportunities, that's how you're going to create a higher return on investment.
At a recent meeting for our education conference, we had 400 people, and we had 1,800 views, of which we found out that there were probably multiple people at many of those views. So it could have been up to 3,000 people looking at a meeting that we put on for 4. Now, here's the most important factor, because you're all sitting back thinking, oh my God, that's, there goes my meeting. Absolutely wrong. The majority of the people that sent us information afterwards thanking us for providing this live activity was, what really happened is it made me realize that I'm missing that peer-to-peer networking. I've got to get there next year. So you sit back and that's what we have to start to embrace, that you can drive attendance for upcoming meetings. But you're also reaching an audience, as Bruce said, that might even not be members if you so leave it open to a broader non-member audience. It's very exciting.
How many of you are familiar with the TED conference? Technology, Entertainment, and Design. It's done by a guy by the name of Chris Anderson, who's the managing editor of Wired Magazine. How many people do you think go to a TED conference? It's about 1,000. You know how many views they get of the content? 100 million. And they line up, TED conference sells out almost a year in advance at $5,000 a pop.
Fascinating. Did you put the entire content online or just a sample of the content? What specifically did you make available?
At the annual meeting, it was the general sessions, the big general session stage presentations that were live webcast. At the education conference, we probably did all the master series, all the general sessions, and several of the breakouts, as many as we could. We archive most of them so that you can go back and see them later. But as far as live, I think it was the master series, the bigger events, the master series and the general sessions. As far as I know, it was very easy to do because I
didn't have to do it.
I didn't have to do it. So, it's just like this. It's kind of.
We need to focus on what is the output from the meeting. Why is it important that we had the meeting? What is better because we had the meeting? How is the ROI better because we've had the meeting? And I think that's really a mind shift that all organizations have to go through. It's really looking at the output that is going to be the metric that determines the success of the meeting and whether people will come to that meeting again in the future. So I think it's really about looking at outputs.
Think about yourselves not just as meeting professionals, but as business professionals, because you do drive results. And as soon as you think about yourself and speak the language of business, you will be seen as a much more valuable resource with your clients and with your employers.
Can we get one more round of applause for our three leaders here, obviously.